in 2018 is when I joined the military, actually. And at the time, I was still living in San Diego temporarily, and I was trying to learn as much as I could about real estate investing, trying to underwrite deals here. And nothing made sense because all we're talking about is cash flow and cash on cash return. Well, neither of those were in my favor. And at that point, I just wasn't very knowledgeable. Like I didn't do the work. I'm thankful I couldn't afford to buy a property
Yeah.
at that time in San Diego. I just
Yeah.
bought
Yeah.
a condo that I didn't need to own.
Right.
And then traveling around with the military, I was in Oklahoma, San Antonio, and then I was stationed at Fairbanks, Alaska, so Fort Wainwright. And at that time, so it was early 2019, and my first ever, I decided to post on Bigger Pockets and say, hey, any local investors here, any meetups? I would love to meet people who are actually really doing the work, not just doing the work
Yeah.
behind the computer screen, but buying properties. And they know what's a good barometer. If I'm underwriting all these deals, it makes a lot of sense to vet it through proven real estate professionals. So that's what I was doing, just underwriting everything I could. I knew that because I was putting so much of my money into the stock market and I wanted to not disrupt that path, I wanted to house hack something using my VA loan at the time. So
Sure.
I knew the best bang for my buck was either getting a really large single family home and renting it up by the room, or then I got more and more into the concept of buying a 2 to 4 unit, same low down payment, whether using an FHA or VA loan, it'll still be 0 to 3.5%, depending on which loan you use for, all the way up to 4 units. And I started underwriting those deals and the numbers started looking so much better. At minimum, not only was I potentially going to make some money, but at minimum, I was going to offset my largest expense, which was housing. There was no bigger expense than housing. So the first year we were in Alaska, we rented. We were living on one side of a duplex anyway. I said, why can't I just be the owner of this property? It's no different. I already have neighbors to the side of me.
Right.
So I underwrote every single property. That was my buy box, 2 to 4 units and 2 to 3 zip codes right around me. And I underwrote every single property, every single one. At a certain point, I was leading trainings within our investment group, just showing other people how to underwrite deals. And I think everyone wanted a cheat code. They wanted the 1% rule. They wanted some rule of thumb, which is fine as a rule of thumb, but like to actually understand if a deal makes sense, you have to underwrite it and understand what is the income on this specific property, the expenses on this specific property. For example, numbers look phenomenal in Alaska for multi-units, and then you learn, oh wait, the landlord's covering heat, and heat can cost you $2,000+ in 1 month during winter. So it's like you have to account for these things that you don't know unless you're deep underwriting these deals and talking to people doing the work locally.